There's something in humans that nature speaks to. We're a part of it. We aren't separate from it. It's in our core, and I think that the bluebirds are just a beautiful way to bring that presence and make people stop and think about what's around them.
The North American Bluebird Society is probably one of the very first citizen science projects that really had an impact on an individual species, and I think they probably really set the standard for citizens having an impact in bird conservation.
We in Idaho are lucky in that we have one of the best examples of a citizen scientist who took that upon his shoulders, and he and his wife, so on their shoulders, to really go above and beyond in establishing hundreds of nest boxes on different routes and then maintaining that for more than 30 years.
It's almost probably part of what's kept him going this long. He started this when he was 60. So most people are retiring. He did it because he was just interested in bluebirds. He kind of read about them and heard they were in trouble, and he thought, oh, I could put up a few boxes.
Voila.
And then the next thing you know, he's the Bluebird Man.
I think when a person retires, he should have a plan ahead of what he wants to do with his life. If he wants to sit down and waste away in an easy chair, that's his business. But if you do that, you'll waste away real fast. You give up, your muscles deteriorate, and the first thing you know, you're bedridden, and next step is pushing up daisies. I was involved with the Audubon Society before I retired, so I had the Audubon activities to keep me busy, field trips and all that. I really didn't retire, I just changed jobs, so to speak. It was like going to work for another person, only this time it was for me.
My dad, if there's something that needs to be done, he does it. If it's something that needs to be fixed, he fixes it, and if there's a problem, he solves it. And, that's just who he is. He likes to not be dependent on anybody else. He likes to be able to do it himself. I hope that he'll always get to be outside, and I can't imagine him ever being confined to someplace inside. He was out on the ranch in Jordan Valley since he was, 13, 12? I mean, and he was alone out there. And I think he just found a lot of peace just being by himself, because his childhood wasn't always the easiest, and I think to be away from people made life a lot easier.
Well, when I first came out here, I was just fresh out of the city, out of Boise. My mother had died, and my stepdad turned me over to my older brothers to care for. And there was a cabin up here. I always refer to this as an old moonshiner's cabin. I think my brothers were involved in running some of the moonshine around the area. I was out here alone to tromp around in the sagebrush. And that's where I got my start of getting out into the desert country. I was riding the fence one day and I spied my first bluebird. I didn't know it then, but that bluebird was going to affect my life 40 years later.
Yes, sir. This is what it's all about. Providing homes for the bluebirds. Now this is the female bluebird. We've got the male bluebird sitting way out there where he figures he's pretty safe.
I can hear him. So we'll just move back and maybe he will deign to come in with the with the door open. Here he comes. Thoreau said that the bluebird carried the sky on his back, and the mountain bluebird really is more of that sky blue. The eastern bluebird has rust on the front, and the blue is more, I describe it as a cobalt blue. It's a deeper blue, and the rust comes right up under the chin. And then on the western, they have a blue collar. So the rust only comes up, but the neck is the blue.
Now, bluebirds are secondary cavity nesters. They don't drill holes in the trees, but they will use cavities that's made by other critters. Before man started putting up artificial nesting cavities like hollowed out gourds or nest boxes like we're doing now, they had to rely on other cavities. We also have competition for the available cavities. The introduced species like starlings and house sparrows. Then there's the nuthatches and chickadees and house wrens and swallows. All these other birds are competition for the bluebirds. So if you have an ample food supply around and not very many cavities, then it's very helpful to put up a nest box. And that's where I step in. At the present time, I'm monitoring over 300 nest boxes out there for bluebirds specifically. We call these routes where the boxes are set up, we call them trails, bluebird trails. I put them up way far off the road so that people wouldn't have access to them if they didn't know they was there, you know. If you get them a little farther off the road, they're less visible. Yeah, getting close here. We'll walk up through here. Must be, let's see, this is it down here. But you notice most of my boxes are this far away from the road to have small numbers on. That's when I was young and spry. I walk farther. Now, when I put a box up, I put it as close to the road as possible. The birds come back. They'll start building nests the latter part of April. She's got one egg. They'll lay one egg a day until they have their clutch filled, say 5 eggs, and they incubate the eggs for 14 days, and they all hatch out on the same day because she started incubating them all on the same day. Okay, here we go.
This was box number 96 on the Owyhee Bluebird Trail on the 30th of April, 1989.
Bluebirds respond very quickly to nest boxes. This bird was of high concern many years ago. Now they're really in pretty good shape. It's worked well. So he's really increased western and mountain bluebird populations in this region. He made this appeal to get some help because he wasn't going to be able to do it, at least at the rate he's been doing it over all these, decades now. If you're going to do this as an individual, you've got 3 or 4 months of time where you're not going anywhere else, really. I mean, it's like having newborn babies in the house or something. You got to stay home and do the job.
Nobody was jumping up and saying, "Oh yeah, I want to be the next bluebird man or woman." So then it was like, okay, so this is not going to take care of itself, so we need to be proactive and do something.
That's a common problem for all of the groups, is how do we engage that next generation to caretake for those of us who can no longer do it.
Out on my field trips, I get in close contact with people, handing them a bluebird, and that's something special. Would one of you like to hold that little bird?
All right, Grandpa, go ahead.
These tiny little babies,
Oh my,
these are about 2 days old.
are those bluebirds?
Oh, they're little, teeny, itty bitties.
Mama, feed me.
Oh my goodness, look at that. That's incredible.
Yeah, there's the mom mouse there. Oh, there she is. Yeah, there's the female.
Just get out of my way, you guys.
Again, the female does most of the work. I think she brings 60 to 70% of the food in. And the male, he just helps out, and he just stands back and is the guard.
He's always been interested in just being outdoors. And so as kids, I mean, we probably visited every national park and state park in the West, you know, and you know, we'd go out and we'd go camping all the time. He taught himself how to play the piano after my mom died. And that's how I fell asleep every single night, was, you know, him playing the piano. So he has this very gentle, caring, very gentle side to him.
Well, a lot of people think that. They say, oh, well, there's a nest box and the birds can use it, and that replaces and takes care of whatever was out there naturally. Well, not so. The more you observe, and by doing good monitoring once a week, the more you're going to learn not only about the birds and what goes on in the nest box, but take in, observe what else is going on and what can affect the birds.
Nestlings out in the ground? It seemed like it just fell recently.
Oh yeah, the babies are still alive. 2 in there. There's 3. 4. 5. These are 5 or 6 days old. Yeah, we should check the boxes probably once a week, but the more often that you check the boxes, the more you may be able to save the birds from having a catastrophe. Did the bluebirds take off?
The male's up there, but
I wonder, do you mind if we just back up here a little ways and
sure.
observe?
Sure.
Bit? But the adults, I was just wondering if they'll come back and investigate and then start feeding them. Well, I won't know until the first whether this operation was successful or not.
When you weren't out with Ale on the trail, and he was out there by himself, out in these kind of remote areas, did you worry about him much?
Oh yeah, I'd always look for him to get home, but I had to rescue him once. He got stuck in the mud out there and had to spend the night in the little pickup.
Sent the sheriff's posse out there.
Well, they told people not to go out there, you know, but it came too late to tell him, so they went out and they found him walking in. He was walking out, crossing a stream that was up above his knees, took his shoes off and went barefooted across it.
Yeah, you know, prior to this year, well, a few people drove Al around sometimes last year, but I mean, he would just go out all the time by himself and.
I had the time of my life.
Yeah, now we got too many cooks in the soup, right? But I know that, you know, his wife probably worried a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you notice a lot of this area, you don't really have any cell coverage. Now and again, you get a little bit, but mostly you don't have any.
I guess I kind of grew up a loner, so I never minded being out alone. 45. I get a big bang out of going out alone. I guess I just like to be free. Just like the waves rolling in or the wind blowing through the trees. Just like to coast along and let matters take their own course. The busiest time of the year for me is usually the second week in June. The birds become old enough to band, say from 8 days on up to 14 or 15 days old.
So by capturing and banding birds, you're placing a unique identifier on a bird. It's sort of like a social security number that allows you to collect data from an individual bird, but then potentially get additional data on that bird into the future. Scientists use bird banding for a whole variety of purposes. There's a lot of different goals in mind. When you think about climate change or other global change that can happen, whether it's habitat loss or something like a West Nile virus or an avian flu, these are things that we couldn't have foreseen 35 years ago when Al started banding. And if you didn't have long-term, like a regular effort for not just bluebirds, but a lot of species, you wouldn't be able to measure some of the before and afters of some of the things that our world is experiencing.
When the little guys get to be about 17 or 18 days old, they're almost as big as the adults. Their wings aren't quite as developed yet, but from 18 to 21 days, the little guys will fledge out of the box.
Once they leave the box, they don't go back in it.
It's not their home anymore. They hide under grass, under little shrubs. The youngsters learn to hunt on their own by watching the parents, but the parents keep feeding them. Well, when the birds are no longer using the nest, I clean the box out, take out the old nest so that it'll be ready for the birds, a clean box the next spring. Bluebirds migrate south in the fall down to the southern United States or northern Mexico, and they come back again in the spring. It's time now to hit the trail. That winding trail down the mountainside. And goodbye to the little bluebird. Good luck.
Older generations remember when there were bluebirds around. And sometimes when things slowly disappear like that, the things that you saw as a child, where did they go? I don't want to see a world without bluebirds. I don't want to see a world without some critter that maybe I've never seen except in a picture, but they're a part of it.
We've got to keep this going. And if it takes 20 people to replace Al, which I think is kind of how it's shaping up, then I want to be one of those 20 and do everything possible to keep it going.
I think in my case, I had a curiosity, a passion for the wildlife. That's sort of been a religion for me, is just what I believe in, what I want to be part of. Okay, next box.